It only takes one spark, one insight, one idea to create the exponential growth you desire. Welcome to the Growth Mode Podcast, where we share the strategies for your growth. Hey, welcome back to the Growth Mode Podcast. The fellows are all here, and we want to talk about three things that we can get to today. So just, you can either check really deeply into this or you can check out. Either way is fine. Number one, I want to talk about Zillow's most aggressive move to date. Yes, I'm talking about the follow-up boss and Zillow new terms of agreement and what that means to you. We want to double down on the Zillow Chat GPT. This is not a We Hate Zillow show, in case you're wondering. This is just, you're our friend. We want you to grow. You need to be informed. We want to talk about that. And Jason's got some cool things that you should consider there to really ensure that your listings are being prioritized and seen by the largest number of people, if in fact they happen to go be inside ChatGPT and use the Zillow app. But the third one is, we want to talk about prioritization today. You got three CEOs on the line, three crazy entrepreneurs, always having tens, if not what feels like hundreds of things going on. How do you maintain focus on what matters most? So if this resonates for you, you're going to love this show. We've got Mr. AI, Jimmy. I almost said that's funny. I was going to say Jimmy, and I was going listing leads in my head, but we know what we're talking about. Jason Pantana, ladies and gentlemen, Mr.
Hey.
AI, and Mr. Listing Leads here. So fellas, I'm going to go right to Jason.
Yeah.
Jason,
Yes.
before we jumped online, we were reading some of the terms of service for this new follow-up boss situation with agents and clients. What is your initial reaction? And then Jimmy, I'm going to come to you next. So Jason, what's your initial reaction to what should an agent be thinking? What would you do? Just give us your reaction to this.
All right. So my reaction is not that you were revealing a lot of information to me on the pre-show. I hadn't read through as in depth as you had with the terms. And so when you feel appropriate, I think you should share what maybe some of those are today, just so the viewer or the listener who maybe doesn't know the full story can get a sense of it. But I would say they were very far-reaching terms based upon what you read. And it was clearly delineated. It's no longer this, now it's this. It's no longer this, now it's this in terms of what they can do with it. And so the question is, how would I respond? My immediate response is, and I want to say this carefully so that I don't get like hated on or something like that. Based upon what you share with me, Tom, Zillow is using the data that you put about your customers in your own notes within your CRM follow-up boss connected to Zillow, now owned by Zillow. They have the rights to use your data to better market to your customers if and when they're mutual customers. What that means is any of your customers who have Zillow accounts. Of course, that's pretty much everybody, right? So you're effectively boots on the ground helping them optimize their own marketing plan, which in the end could turn around and allow you to get more business. I don't want to assume there couldn't be a positive side to it, but the question is what would I do? I'm not telling anybody listening or watching to do this. I'm trying to disclaim myself a little bit. But what I would do is get a second CRM. I would take all my past clients, all my sphere, all my people, my contacts, and I would manage them from a different CRM. And I would maintain my relationship. If I am a Zillow, Premier Agent, Flex kind of partner, I would be strategic there. Yes, I want to use all the tools they give me to better my conversion of the leads. That's a good partnership in that respect. But when it comes to the other stuff, that's not really my cup of tea. Did I say anything you would disagree with?
No, and just before Jimmy goes, I'm looking at basically what changed their old terms of service versus the new. So let me just go old and new for the listener and maybe for Jimmy also. So under the old, follow-up boss operated the company independently. Under the new terms, follow-up boss is now part of Zillow, right? We all knew that. Remember, we all went through this before when Compass bought Contactually, right? When Boomtown sold, when Sync sold, a million moons ago to Fidelity.
Yep.
So everyone's familiar with this game. Old, all customer data handled under FUB's own terms of service, which basically said we would never go after your data. New, data governed by Zillow's privacy policy and the new FUB addendum. I'll explain. Old, FUB could only use to improve its own platform. So they can't use your data to make any money, just to improve the platform, workflow, make it better, make it a better product. New terms of service. Zillow can use shared mutual customer data for marketing and product improvement across Zillow's brands. Mutual customers. You said it also. So if Tom and Kathy Ferry happen to have a Zillow account and I'm inside somebody's database, I'm now a mutual client, even if you sold them
Mhm.
5 houses, even if they're your mother-in-law, even if they're your best friend, right? It's now a mutual client, which means they can now market it, which, Jimmy, I think it's going to be for the mortgage company.
Mm.
Sure.
That's where all the growth is.
Sure.
That's where all the money is, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to see, but now let's keep going. You ready? Old, no AI or machine learning clause, right? So nothing. New, explicit permission for de-identified data to be used with AI and machine learning work even after account closes.
Mhm.
So with all that, Jimmy, what's
Yeah.
your take? If you were advising somebody today, if you were an agent today running a team, what would you do?
Well, let's keep in mind that Follow Up Boss, by best estimates, has about 120,000 users, which means they have likely 50 to 100 million contacts in the sort of database of all of these users, give or take. The problem with switching CRMs is the chances are that the people who are currently in your FUB, even if you were to move over to another CRM that wasn't owned by Zillow, guess what? Like they're going to exist in more than one database. So there's you have to look at as a percentage wise, probably they now have access to like 60% of the like active potential prospects out there. So switching doesn't necessarily solve the problem because of the size and scale and scope of this. Now, when agents in the past, Tom, have lost their minds over this idea of Zillow getting access to their data, I always used to laugh at them because I'm like, you think Zillow wants like no name at don't call me at gmail.com and like the notes of like LVM no response? You think they want that data? Of course they don't. But this is definitely a moment in time where the fact is that this level of permission to reach does change the game, specifically around how they might attribute things like referral fees. In the
Mm.
sense that if Zillow is wildly incentivized to say, if they can begin to pattern match someone in your CRM who is now showing behaviors, let's say as an example of like opening up your emails, visiting your website, and that can act as a signal that then has the flex call center team reach out to them and almost cut in front of you at the very end of the line. That's a major, major concern. So the practical advice is this is first and foremost, I would, as Jason recommended, I would be thinking about what part of my database is actually mission critical to my business. Online
Mhm.
leads, maybe not so much. My
Exactly.
sphere, my clients, absolutely. I think it's a very reasonable position to say, like, I'm going to make sure I have their data in something that is independently owned or controlled or will not compete against me, like a Google Sheets, for God's sakes, right?
Yeah.
Number two, if Zillow, and this is a wake up call, Tom, if Zillow's doing better marketing to your clients than you are, you have a problem. I mean, so this is an opportunity for us as an industry. Tom, you said this to me 1,000 times. Jimmy, complaining is not a strategy. And
Mhm.
like, so this idea of like, yeah, we can complain about this, or we can get out there and figure out ways to make ourselves absolutely, obviously the choice for our customers. And that starts with our communication strategy, our marketing strategy, our sales strategy, of course, our service strategy. So, like, Tom, like, game on. I mean, this is a wake up call for a lot of agents.
Right. So I agree with you guys on the new CRM. My immediate note was you got to go so much deeper with your own customer base. And I cannot overemphasize for my friend listening, personalization is everything. The more you can personalize your messaging, your marketing, your content, even if you're dividing up your database by people that bought 10 years ago, people that bought 5 years ago, people that just bought a year ago, and you just start communicating more in their modality where they are in the world, you're going to do better. And obviously, consistency. It's funny. You both kind of said it. My note was don't fight Zillow. You're not going to win.
Mhm.
Like complaining is not a strategy. I mean, this is like you're not. I'm watching. I just watched Ben Franklin, right? The
Yep.
new Apple TV. If you guys haven't seen it, you should watch it. John Adams, right? Basically going to France and trying to convince the French to help us like go thwart England. And of course, in the middle of it, everybody's backstabbing everybody, right?
Mhm.
It'd be like if somebody right now is going, screw Zillow, I'm going to realtor.com or I'm going to go to, Movoto or whatever it is. Like everybody's, but this isn't a battle you want to fight. Instead, put
Sure.
all your energy on better serving your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Put all of your energy on client attraction, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that starting to do things that you didn't like to do in the past that now make more
Right.
sense. I better geographic farm. I better do open houses at scale.
Yeah.
Should I be creating more content? I was listening to Alex Hermosi this morning talking about, he's like, the only reason I blew up, he's like, everybody talks about business, but I do 100 times more content. Do you guys hear that? 100
Mhm.
times more content than any of my competitors. So you can't escape me. And I know a lot of our clients listening are going to be like, but wait a minute, I'm already doing like, one reel a week and, one or two posts a day. And literally I was talking with my team this morning, Jason. I'm like, I don't know what 100 times looks like, but let's test it. Like,
Tom,
let's
I
test it.
would, it's not just 100xing the amount of content, but what you said a moment ago can't be glazed over quickly. You talked about the need to segment your database. Who's been there for 10 years? Who's in this group? How do you personalize your communications to your most important people? And Jimmy, you talked about your past clients, your sphere
Yeah.
of influence. This is, to use your old metaphor, Tom, your castle, and you got to put a moat around it. You got to have better communication. I got to tell you, not to sound like a broken record, you need AI in your life. The only way you're going to personalize and scale your marketing to that degree is you need AI in your life to help you do that, to help you
Sure.
analyze everything, to create more, to be an extension of you. You just need it.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah.
got to say.
So
Tom, real
we're gonna
quick on
go,
that
yeah,
note, just before we move on to Zillow, just real quick. I'm reminded of the story of when Zappos got acquired by Amazon,
yeah,
and they got acquired for like just shy of $1 billion. And the really interesting insight was the reason why Amazon bought Zappos is because they figured out that consumers were willing to pay for the same shoe, pay more money for the same shoe on Zappos.com than they were on Amazon, despite the fact that Amazon was 100 times bigger, 100 times more well known, right? So it isn't just all about convenience when it comes to consumer experience. So Zillow is the Amazon of real estate. Yet
Mhm.
you're going to find that consumer preferences are always going to steer towards where they have the most confidence, not convenience, especially when it comes to something like this. So I just think that like there is hope to be able to establish yourself as the de facto choice. But I mean, like it is, Tom, this is sort of a bit of the death of mediocrity, frankly. This is when we agree we're going to see that separation we keep talking about.
Absolutely.
it's interesting you talk about it because I was doing a training this morning, guys, with a team that both of them, the team leaders separately, were with me when I took them to Zappos's headquarters after they are acquired. And
Hmm.
you guys will both appreciate this as we're walking through the sales environment, which is just client care. It's people answering the phone. And literally, we're watching this gal. I think she talked about like cats for like seven
Yeah.
minutes, right? And what Zappos figured out was sometimes people call in, they're looking for shoes, they want to buy something right away. But if we can just keep them on the phone and keep engaging them and keep going deep with them and
Mm.
willing to go wherever they want to go, they bought way more shoes. They bought
Hmm.
way more shoes and they call in and go, "Hey, is Crystal there again? Hi, I'd like to talk to Jimmy." Like they
Hmm.
actually created these representatives without even creating account
Yeah.
representatives. So again, it all goes back to personalization.
Yeah.
I want to throw a comment out to my friends that are listening. If you're in the mortgage space, uh, Cotality created a product from Milestones to
Hmm.
Cotality, and Milestones, and I think it's called Homeowner.ai, right? And then they created one with another company called Live In Here, which is for real estate agents. I invested in the parent company, not in this company. So I guess indirectly, I'm an investor, but not fully in this business. But as you guys know, I announced at the summit, I gave it to all of our coaching clients for free for 18 months. The reason
Hmm.
why, not that I thought this was going to happen, it was, I'm not Nostradamus, right? But it was pretty obvious. If all of your consumers have a source of truth for all things real estate information outside of you, you don't have a moat, right? You,
Mhm.
you don't have any protection. So like I've seen in this same training I did today, guys, check this out. One of my clients, not to be named, 518 people bought a house in the first 9 months after signing a single party show agreement with my client or one of their agents, and then
Hmm.
bought a house from someone else
Wow.
518 times. No, do they have a moat? No, right? What they
Hmm.
want is consumers want to see houses, right? And they don't want to be inconvenienced. So I look at this like this live in here product. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly making a very strategic financial investment in my clients and a bet that if they can get agents to implement this and share it with all their customers. Could they clean up their database? Yes. Could they also get the enrichment of who's most likely to transact? Of course, like that already exists. But the most important thing is that home hub. And if we
Hmm.
change the behavior from I go to Zillow for this information, to I go to my own home hub, which is everything about my house and the surrounding areas, my goodness, I'm knocking on wood, guys. I don't know if it's going to be the thing, but I'm
Sure.
certainly betting on it helping agents build a moat around their business and protect their own past clients and sphere.
The strategy here, Jason, and we got to talk about Zillow with ChatGPT and the
Yeah,
recent
Totally.
announcement with
that's on the
OpenAI. But real quick, I just want to call it out, Tom. Like the strategy is, and all really good businesses understand this, and it's almost like the golden rule, which is whoever gets closest to the customer wins. And
yeah.
so anytime there's someone between you and your customer, right, that's always a point of weakness and a point that you have to address and figure out a way to get like no one between us. So that product you mentioned, living here, like whatever tools you can put in your disposal to make you closer to your customer. I mean, that is always going to work. It's like it's the old Bezos line, which I love. Everyone always asks what's going to change in the next 5 years, and his question is, and his reframe, kind of the old Charlie Munger invert always. His reframe is, what isn't going to change? And
Bingo.
so getting closer to your customers is going to be the thing that you just got to focus on. Jason, we got to transition though. I would love to get
Yeah.
your take real quick as a side note, because Tom wants to talk about prioritization. Like, where's your head at in terms of this whole Zillow OpenAI announcement?
Yeah, so let's give the backstory. I'll be quick about it. At the time we're filming this, we're just a little bit shy of 2 weeks from OpenAI's developer conference where they announced a whole bunch of new features. And guys, just for kicks and giggles, do you know how many major companies they disrupted at this one conference? They announced the ability to buy stuff directly in chat. And Amazon's like, what? They launched a new social media app based upon Sora, their generative video platform. And Instagram and TikTok are like, what is going on? And then
Mhm.
third, they disrupted Apple's App Store when they launched their new Apps SDK. And this is the one we're going to talk about. So Apps SDK, the name is that can't stick. They're going to have to get a better name for it. But it effectively turned ChatGPT into an app store. And this first run, there was, I think, six major platforms that rolled into the first apps that are literally available inside of users' chats within ChatGPT, including Expedia, Bookings.com, Spotify, Canva is in there. I've actually been using Canva, and it's not just in there to access it. I can say, design this thing for me that does a listing presentation. I'm literally asking ChatGPT to break into my Canva, open up a project, and start designing stuff according to my brand, and it's halfway decent at it. The one we're talking about right now is Zillow. Became the first and only real estate app inside of the new apps available through ChatGPT. And I think, Tom, you shared it. We were doing a webinar a while ago on this topic because we've been really shouting from the rooftops. What do you need to do to make sure that you leverage this as a marketable moment, both as a listing and a buyer's agent? And you shared the stat, Realtor.com did a study recently or a survey, and they found that approximately 82% of home shoppers are already involving AI in their home search.
Bingo.
This idea that, well, let me just double down. So this news comes out that Zillow's inside of ChatGPT. It causes a lot of people to freak out. Oh my gosh, this is the end of real estate agents as we know it. To which I would reply and say, please explain because I don't get it. Home search has been available for 2 decades now online. And at the time home search came out, it was a bigger paradigm shift then than it is now. This change is just the inevitable evolution of better, more convenient home search. So what the user can now do is they can connect their Zillow into their ChatGPT and they can ask ChatGPT to go search for homes for them. Now, the way people search ChatGPT is more nuanced. And so, what you should expect buyers to do is instead of saying, show me all homes in this area under a million, they will instead prompt ChatGPT to say, show me homes on this street with this floor plan with sunset views and sidewalks. They're going to like put their Christmas Santa Claus wish list into one prompt, believing that AI can infer it, go search for it, and bring back to them. But there's a big catch. And the big catch is, do you really think Zillow shared all their data with
Heck,
ChatGPT?
heck.
No, they did not. And you could argue why. It could be due to MLS licensing restrictions. Doesn't really matter. The fact is they didn't. What do we know is being shared? Well,
Hey,
they're
hold on.
actually
Jason,
yeah,
Jason, hold
yeah.
on. Why did they do it? Why did they not share all the data? Because then you don't need to go to Zillow anymore.
But
That would
hang
be
on.
silly.
But Zillow's inside of ChatGPT. You're still on Zillow. So
If you pay how much more per month?
no, they rolled out their SDK to free users. If you have a ChatGPT membership, you got this. So
Good.
here's how I frame this. Zillow.com existed before the App Store. When the App Store came out, they made an app. Now they're making a new app. It's just another. So whether you access their website or their mobile app or their ChatGPT app, they're still getting traffic to their platform, and their platform now transcends one specific operating environment. But we could sit here and debate why they did or didn't share it. But what we know is they didn't share all the data. So here's what they are sharing. Obviously, the basics, this many beds, this many baths, here's the address, here's the price, etc. They're not sharing information about the agent. That's being held back. It
Mhm.
cannot see your
Say that,
photos. It
say
can't,
that
yeah.
again. Say that again.
They're not sharing the information about the listing agent. I could not say, show me listings from Jane Doe. It can't do that. And if you ask it why, it will tell you there's licensing restriction limitations. And that's what we'll say. Now, when you ask ChatGPT, well, how do you know that for a fact? It will tell you, I'm literally reading the open documentation on the schema markup of this. I'm literally talking to Zillow right now, and it's telling me that. And so they did not like put a door where we couldn't open it and ask
Mhm.
questions about the relationships. You can flat out ask ChatGPT, hey, with the Zillow app connected, what can't you see? And so what it can't see, and this should be somewhat surprising and shocking, it can't see MLS photos. Now you're like, Jason, but the photos are inside of the app that's now embedded inside of my chat. That doesn't mean ChatGPT can see them. That just means Zillow's app is visible in the chat with those photos. There's a line of separation there. It can't read your photo captions. It doesn't know what your disclosures that you've attached are. It doesn't know if it's a flat lot. It doesn't know if it's a fenced backyard. It doesn't know any of the finer points, but that is how the buyer's going to search. So here's the easy hack that everybody should be thinking about. You need to optimize your listing descriptions because what you're going to find is that ChatGPT and Zillow are going to place extreme heavy reliance on keywords that describe the specific features of a property being mentioned in the actual listing remarks. So, like if somebody does a ChatGPT search for show me homes near a Starbucks in Brentwood, Tennessee, or that mention a Starbucks near Brentwood, Tennessee, it's going to put heavy emphasis on keywords in the listing remarks. And so that means if your listing isn't optimized for an AI search first world, you may not be giving your sellers full service right now. And what it also means is that if your listings are optimized for AI first search, well, then my goodness, you could be getting a spotlight on your seller's listings. When a buyer goes looking for the perfect match home, there could be 18 other listings that should be shown to them that won't be shown to them. And at no point will ChatGPT say, hey, by the way, I can only show you what I can find and see through my limited data connection. It's never going to tell the buyer that. And so, what homes the buyer sees, the buyer will assume that's what there is to be had. Now, I don't want what, so I see screen share. So, jump in, guys. I got one more thing I want to add to it, but I don't want to filibuster for too long here.
I just want to acknowledge, I just put on the screen for my friends that are watching. Here's the 10 things that Jason's recommending.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Begin to reimagine how you're doing your listing descriptions. And really, all we're talking about is just take care of your client, take care of your listings, make sure your listings get seen, is really what we're
Mhm.
discussing here, right?
That's right. Yep, absolutely. So once you do, thank you for sharing that. All that is inside AI Marketing Academy. If any members are watching or listening right now, we have all the prompts. So step one, you got to optimize your listings with the right keywords. There's a prompt for that inside of AIM for all my members there. Step two, that's all swell that you did that, but it is a miss if you don't convert it into a marketable moment. You've got to let your database know what you've done. I'm talking an email, a blog, an ad, a video, a blitz. You've got to announce, here's what happened. ChatGPT has now got Zillow inside of it. Here's what it means. You should imagine buyers who are already 82% reliant upon AI-based searches are going to be all the more reliant based upon AI searches. And so we got to optimize your listings. But the problem is all the data isn't getting shared. You let them know what the problem is and what you're doing about it. And you position yourself as that agent who's a step ahead of the others. Jimmy, I'd love your thoughts on this. Inside of AIM, I gave them an email to send out. But how would you, king of listing marketing, seize the moment and take the glory of being the agent who's ahead of the pack in terms of helping sellers' homes stand out?
Well, I'm having flashbacks here, guys, because 16 years ago, I created the first MLS app that was embedded in Facebook called get this, Tom, MLS app. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Creative.
Uh,
Love
and my thesis was that if people were searching homes on Google, they would eventually search homes on Facebook because Facebook had all the attention. And so I love everything you said. I think this is largely a PR event
Yes,
that is going.
totally.
I think we all kind of see it and experience it. It's a really good PR event for OpenAI. It's a really good PR event for Zillow. I think if anyone who's used the product with inside OpenAI instantly begins to say, "I just got to go back to my app" at this point, I think Zillow probably will not keep the relationship for that long, frankly, because their data is their value. And if they give it to OpenAI, they're going to lose a lot of that value. And all like unless they change their monetization model, it's a big problem. But it is an opportunity, it is an opportunity to seize this opportunity. So I would be leveraging the fact that what ChatGPT has, what 800 million users now, Jason, give or take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would be framing it like, part of our job is to find creative and interesting ways to get your home in front of more buyers. 12 months ago, that was about Facebook and Google and X and Y and Z. Today, that's AI, which is why going forward, we are standardizing our marketing process to include AI optimization for every single listing.
Bingo.
Like, so I'm actually not worried. What I'm really trying to say here, guys, is I'm not really worried about it changing the buyer behavior. And
Mm-mm.
I think your point, Jason, is spot on. I'm more thinking about how do I leverage this as a marketable
Yes,
moment for sellers as a point of differentiation. So
makes
that's
sense.
where my head goes when you think about this.
Now, can I share one more? I want to show you how cumbersome the experience is for a buyer to actually enable the Zillow app to search. I'm going to share my screen really quick. So I'm on ChatGPT, and first and foremost, they have to turn the features on and connect it through their settings. But then I've
Mhm.
got a new chat, and if I want to talk to Zillow, I have to click the plus. I have to go to more. I have to choose Zillow. That's a lot of steps. And then
Mm-hmm.
I will say, show me homes in Brentwood, TN under 1 mil, and that'll be enough. I'll just start broad. And it's gonna put the app inside of my actual chat. Now, today we're filming on a day where Amazon Web Services is having a lot of problems, so things are moving slow inside of ChatGPT, but here it goes nonetheless. And it puts an app inside of ChatGPT and it's going to display the listings in a moment. But what I want you to see is at any moment in time, I can reprompt this, but this little app has a tendency of turning itself off. And just for kicks and giggles, if I do this, like let's pretend that I'm an average buyer and I don't know I'm supposed to do those 3 steps to turn this app on. And I just say, show me homes for sale in Brentwood, TN under 1 mil. I would think that Zillow might be on. It's not, it's searching the web. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's actually a big opportunity. Some of our great coaching clients and members of AI Marketing Academy have already started tapping into this. They are banking, Tom and Jimmy, on the fact that the average person will think they're talking to Zillow and they're not talking to Zillow. They're just doing a generic web search. And it's about optimizing your listings for this to get.
Yeah.
And then look here, these are the sources it's pulling from just regular websites. So
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing is they are adding all the same listing remarks that they're putting inside of their copy, their listing remarks in the MLS that syndicate to Zillow. They're actually attaching those exact same remarks as metadata with all
Yeah.
the keywords on every respective one of their featured listings. So that when somebody believing they're connected to Zillow inside of ChatGPT says, Dearest Santa Claus, show me the home of my dreams. It has this feature, this feature, this feature, and this feature. All of a sudden, AI is going to run a web search looking for the listing that actually possesses all the things they're looking for. And it will not know where to look except for the one that has all that metadata in it. And it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be so what's happening is these guys are getting as many inquiries, if not more, off of their listings this way. Just again, banking off of the PR that OpenAI had from integrating Zillow. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained that well.
Oh, it's spot on. Jimmy, you know what's going through my head?
Mm.
You started going down this path, and that is how do we best position the agent listening right now to win the most business because of their awareness and ability to use AI? So like literally going through my mind, like, why not send a postcard to your entire
Mm-hmm.
database Now,
Yeah.
assuming you've already listened to Jason and done everything we've told you to do to position yourself high in the rankings, you've written your blogs, you've done all your profiles, you've done all the things you know you're supposed to do. And now you know if you grab like somebody else's, not your own phone, and you say, who's the best real estate agent in Brentwood, Tennessee? If you show up as number one, two, or three, that's great. I would do a postcard to my entire farm that says 82% of home sellers or home buyers or
Yeah.
people looking for agents now use an AI platform to find their agent.
Hmm.
Do me a favor and do this search on your favorite AI platform. Search is who's the
Hmm.
best agent to list my home with in name the community, which would be even easier, right, Jason, to name
Yeah.
Yeah.
to like to get them to be number one in a subdivision.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I know that sounds long, but I know the person listening, you know what I'm talking about,
Well,
right?
they do,
Yeah.
and it might sound long, but it will also produce like legitimate, high quality inbound bottom of funnel leads. I mean, it will work.
Okay, so
Hmm.
Jason, why would we not then say to people, let's take like who has sold the most homes from people that go to Persephone off Moose Road in Wilson, Wyoming? Well, all I have to do is
Hmm.
write one blog that says, I've
You
sold
did.
three houses while meeting with customers from out of state. Who sold the most homes from Hooby Doo Elementary? Who's done the
Hmm.
most from the fire department, the police department, the this side of the street, that
All
side of
right.
the street, four bed, like, should we even be sharing this right now? I'm having a
I got
existential.
another slide I got to show you. We're gonna double down, Tom. And Jimmy's looking at this like, guys, we're already over 30 minutes. I know, Jimmy.
Please.
I know.
Yes, because I'm the biggest rule keeper here, Jason.
You are such a rule
Hey, by
follower,
the way,
Jimmy.
for my friend listening, while you're watching this show, who has the best hair on the
But
show?
don't even, we already know the answer's
No, no,
Jimmy.
I
What
no,
was
I
the
actually
point of
think
that?
because both of you guys have the go back look. I have the go forward look.
Yeah,
Like
because you're
I just
all
needed the
about getting
classic,
momentum,
Tom.
Tom.
kind of
That's
thinking
it.
about the momentum of my haircut right now. All
I
right,
love it.
so
All right, so look at this, Tom. So
yes.
building on what you just shared with everybody, what if you went through your own reviews on Google and Zillow and you identified clients who would be testimony to a specific specialization you possess? So
Hmm.
maybe you find clients who were expired listings and then you sold their home when the agent prior to failed, and you create a blog on your website where you verbatim quote their clients and you position yourself as the agent with the track record for relisting and selling homes that did not sell before. So what would happen is when a prospective seller who's becoming disenchanted with the service they're receiving from their agent starts to question, should I hire someone else, searches ChatGPT or whichever AI, I need an agent in such and such area who specializes in taking over listings when the first agent was dropping the ball. Whatever they might prompt in AI, you are now literally feeding a alley oop to ChatGPT to say, I'm your agent. And you could do it beyond just expireds. You could do it for luxury, finding
Hmm.
again clients who support that narrative, that specialization. What if there's a specific street that you sell on? You could do that a
Hmm.
thousand times over for this street, for that street, for this subdivision, for this cul-de-sac, for super hyper local areas that, and because here's where this comes from. Cornell University just did a big study, and what they found was unsurprisingly predictable. The way people search AI is different than how they search traditional Google. Traditional Google, the average person uses a technique that's called keyword foraging, where they're looking for something, they type in a few words just to see what shows up in the search results, and then they refine their search through multiple searches until they find the thing they're looking for. So, like if I'm looking for some kind of a weird wrench and I don't know what it's called, I might start broad and work my way down. But what they find in AI search is that people literally spill their guts to AI. They put everything in the kitchen sink into a prompt. I'm looking for the agent who does this, 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 and this, not this. They've done this, they have this. And they just they litter the page with what they're looking for, believing faithfully that ChatGPT and AI knows everything and can find the one answer. And lo and behold, it does give them the one answer, but the catch is it does not tell them based upon what information I can see. And so that's where there's a little bit of this magic effect happening where the consumer believes ChatGPT is fully aware of everything out there on the World Wide Web and telling them the full story. It is not, but they don't know that. And so there's never been an easier time to impression and influence what just supply the content that AI is looking for when someone searches for the specific thing. And so
Hmm.
again, like it's luxury, it's expireds, it's locations, it's marketing, it's pricing. You help the seller get their price, it's negotiation, it's privacy. Hey, are you looking to sell your property, but you're concerned the agent's a big mouth or something like that, and you want to keep it low key? I'm your agent, blah, blah, blah. It's concierge service. It's I will answer the phone. I will respond. Here's my clients say about how communicative and responsive I am. I would just be
Mhm.
writing blogs about any specializations you believe consumers might search for that you want to be the supplied answer for. That's the opportunity to me.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
I have a headline for you guys there.
give it to us.
Um, near my gym in Boston, there's this place called Heyday does like facials, and I guess like a nationwide brand, and they have this line that says like, we've had like a million people have chose us for a reason. Now they don't describe what the reason is.
Hmm,
They let the imagination of the consumer say, like, if you were to say, well, a million people have chosen you for a reason,
that's smart.
then like you immediately fill in the blank. Your minds work that way. So you're like, oh, but it must be because they have great service or they have great price or because they do an amazing job. And so the thought that goes to my mind, like if I were to leverage this, like so if I'm using what Jason's teaching right now and I'm ranking high on ChatGPT and it's recommending me for all these different searches or my listings for all these searches, I might say something along the lines of like ChatGPT, which is a well-known brand, recommends us for a reason. And I would have a screenshot of like who's the best realtor in Auburn, New Hampshire, and it's like Jimmy Mackin, blah 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 blah, right? And I would take a screenshot of that response on a mobile device, and then that would be sort of it, right? And
That,
maybe like on the back of that, so if that's the front of the postcard, right, which is ChatGPT recommends us for a reason. You don't have to fill in the reason. They will fill in the reason. And the visual is a screenshot of ChatGPT basically responding to that particular inquiry. Then on the back of the card, Tom, I'm just doing the old fashioned like name your price, no copy,
yeah.
nothing QR code. I might just have like find out why with a QR code. And so the back of the postcard is literally nothing but like one simple line or a QR code. And that would lead to likely a video of me saying, thanks for scanning our postcard. We've had a lot of people reaching out to us about how we're using ChatGPT to help sell their houses. Here's a breakdown of the 3 things that we do for every listing. Like I would use that as an extension of all the things that Jason's talking about. So just at a high level, I'm a huge, like, you don't get points for doing something that nobody knows about, Tom. If you're going to go through the effort of doing all this stuff, like you got to tell people about it. And that's really what we want you to do with this idea.
That's
So,
really
so
good.
Jimmy, AI named us the number one agent in city. Turnover to find why, but
Mm-hmm.
like literally, I don't know if it's hard to see in my little fogged out thing here.
Yeah.
Screenshot of their AI search.
Mm-hmm.
Right? AI named us the number one agent here. All right. So very quickly before we gotta end this show, I can't wait for my friend listening. Uh, give us some feedback, give us some comments. What else do you want us to cover? What are you going to do about Zillow Follow Up Boss? Do you even care? How are you going to rank higher? How are you going to make sure that you are the ones that actually get found when they show up? And maybe just maybe on the next show, we'll talk about prioritization. But first, I want to end Jimmy with this. What is Jason going to do when Perplexity is the sponsor of the Growth Mode podcast?
I'm gonna jump for joy and have a great time.
Jason's going to replace himself with his avatar because he's going to be so upset. That's what's going to happen.
I,
Jason's
I,
avatar is going to show up on the podcast.
my avatar will be a raving fan of Perplexity. I am a customer of Perplexities.
That's
Me
it.
too. Me too. All right, fellas, great
Uh,
show. For my friend out there listening, hey, keep growing. We are supporting you every day in your growth. We're going to keep giving you good ideas and crazy insights, and we know you're going to go execute like crazy, and that's why we appreciate you. All right, fellas, we'll see you guys on the next show. Take care.